Your perception is a direct result of the content that you consume. In other words, hypothetically speaking, let's say you have a tube hooked up to your mouth, and that tube is connected to a central point, like a big pot or like a big well, and you're not the only one that has this tube. Let's say it's hooked up to millions of people. They're all hooked up with this tube from their mouth to this big, gigantic well, which is millions and millions of gallons capacity. Now, whatever is going to be placed in that well and fill it, that's what you're going to be consuming. Like they say, you are what you eat, and you are the content that you consume. This not only formulates your perception and shapes it, but it actually creates it straight out of the gate. So whenever those individuals who are in charge of filling that well with whatever they're putting in there decide to say, okay, this is the way it's going to be, and then they go ahead and do it, that's what you're going to be consuming. So when they decide to put that specific type of content in that well, and they do it constantly, that's what you're consuming. That's what is formulating and generating, creating, molding, shaping, sculpting. That's what is just absolutely modifying and just, it's so many other different words I can use here. Your perception. They control the resource, the reservoir that you consume. It is the knowledge in that well that you're consuming that is formulating your outlook on life, your point of view, your perception, your understanding, your belief systems. It goes much farther than just your perceptive lens. So of course it's in their best interest to not fill this with a nutritive element of factual, truthful information. It's always going to be more of the same. That's why you see these young kids nowadays with their faces glued to the phone. They have the backpack on, they're on college campuses. They don't go anywhere without the phone because the phone is the tube. Because your cell phone is in the shape of a door for a reason. It's not circular. Even if it was circular, it would still be a portal. Your phone is a portal, the tube. Now, the remainder of the connection is your subconscious to the phone, which is, of course, imperceivable, but energy is imperceivable. Where's energy? Energy is everything. The lower, slower density, you could see it in the form of tables, chairs, cars. That's the lower, slower form. But the higher velocity, the higher vibrational frequencies, they're imperceivable, they're intangible. You can't, I know it's here, but I can't see it, I can't hold it, I can't touch it, I can't, that type of thing. So that well that is emptied is filled continuously with the toxic, putrid, deleterious energies of everything that you're consuming online. All social media platforms, all of them, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, which one you're on. These are all databases for the CIA, for China, but they're all in bed together. It's all the same clique. All the three-letter agencies, there's no such thing. They're all the same thing. So whatever you're dialing into as far as the content that you're consuming online, the quality and the nature of that is going to determine where your energy is going to be used and applied. So if it's something of a productive nature, then your energy will be beneficial, and this content that's being assimilated will also be of a beneficial nature. It's just common sense. If you eat right and exercise, the odds are that you're going to be healthy. The probability that you will be unhealthy is exceedingly lower by average because you're actually doing something of a beneficial nature. Right, so if you don't drink, smoke, do drugs, all that harmful stuff, you're good to go. You're good to go. So it stands to reason to say that you are what you eat. Right? That's your body. If you're eating pizzas and sitting down, chilling out, watching YouTube, overeating plus a sedentary lifestyle is the perfect recipe for morbid obesity every time, without a doubt. This is the same. If you're plugged into something that's continuously feeding your subconscious mind toxicity and deleterious wavelengths and detrimental frequencies, there's no way that you could be mentally healthy. You are mentally unhealthy. And that is the point of being plugged into that hive mind. You are the content. You are the very direct result of the content that you consume. That's why these children are very low average of an intellectual level. Some of them are pretty cool, but the rest of them, they just listen to what they see and they believe it. And unfortunately, like I've said, 99.75% of the content on TikTok is just all fabricated. It's to make you formulate an opinion or an understanding or an idea of something or a belief that shapes and formulates the foundation of what is to become the culture, the ethos that will support that initial suggestive influence that is transmitted through the air into your subconscious, because you are what you believe yourself to be. And if you're the one that was not responsible for the initial inception of that seed to be planted, then you are something that they want you to believe that you are to be. You are what they want you to believe yourself to be. So you're not in control of anything, and everything that you're taking your heads up over and your visual cues and things that are activating your emotional and your mental acuity, they're actually being controlled by something else. And you just don't realize it because you are connected to something that you're not in control of. You're not in control of where this source of information is originating from. That empty pot, that well, you're not the one filling it. So you're actually connecting to something that's being controlled by something else or others. So you're just basically consuming, not in a physical manner, but a metaphysical manner. Because you're connected to a resource that is non-nutritive in nature. And this is the dilemma of why the youth are being targeted. Because don't forget, the children are our future. So this will not be a war of guns and rockets and bombs and grenades. It's a war of information, surveillance, intelligence, espionage, information collecting. See how social media platforms are very smart because they are a database for the CIA and also for whatever the Chinese version of the CIA is, and the Russians have KGB. That's all it is. Because if you really think about how good they are, check it out. Instead of them having to waste, millions of man hours for them to do surveillance outside your house and get pictures of your family and know all of your intimate details and all of the private information that you have, they wouldn't be able to gather and obtain that type of information. So what do? They have you go to them and do it. So social media, Zuckerberg has nothing to do with Facebook. He's just a front guy. He had nothing to do with the creation of it, or Twitter, Instagram, or any of these things. He's just the low-level functionary that's put out there as the, pasty-faced poster child of, this is Facebook. No, it's not. He has nothing to do with it. Never has, never will. So, but if you follow, before I end the video, they're very clever. Instead of them having to hunt you down in surveillance and cameras, and why would we want to do that? And their whole mindset about it is, let them come to us, meaning have you go to them through social media. So it's a win-win on their part because they're not having to spend the man hours and the resources and the time and the energy and expending that to track everybody with Big Brother, eye in the sky. So they get you to come to them. That's the first one. The second one for them is that now all of the forms of communication are now centralized in a singular hub. So when they come time for them to pull the plug on this, and they will, they're going to pull the plug on your food, your water, the whole infrastructure. They're going to collapse. They're going to try to. Let's just put it that way. So that's why they got rid of the pay phones years ago. They want to get rid of your home phone. The home phone that you have through your cable company, where is only left, the only form of communication left will be your cell phone, right? They're doing forced conversion, which means they're getting rid of all internal combustion engines, diesel, everything to switch to electric. They're getting rid of your gas-powered ovens and stoves. That's gone. They are doing digital currency, getting rid of your tangible physical dollars. And it's not cryptocurrency. This is a digital dollar, which is basically the paradigm of the Chinese social credit system. So you see where this is all going. It's a central point of control, where anytime, if you're not an obedient little follower, they'll pull the plug on you. They will pull the plug on you. and your information, all of your resources that you cite as your point of reference is all just misinformation campaigns. So actually you've been educated with things that are not true. That's because your perception is basically, how do I put it? It's like a mindless child, just like your mind. It doesn't know what to do unless it's told what to do. So your perception is a peripheral of your mind, because your mind is run by a belief system. Belief system tells your mind what to do. Your mind tells what your perceptive lens what to see, what not to see, what's acceptable, and that's how you interpret things. So when you're in a specific vibrational field, your perception is at a specific frequency, and that's what you will be able to view, interact with, observe, interpret, relate to, these types of things. So when you are being controlled by an outside external remote source of an extraneous nature that has nothing but nefarious machinations going, it's never beneficial for you. So that is what your perceptive lens is going to be conditioned and trained to look for. Only the things that are acceptable, that are identifiable, that will be permissible, you will say, okay, yeah, that's real. That's real. Then if you see something that's alien, you reject it. That's how they get you to block spirituality, because you have been so cloaked in this game of illusions that the only thing you recognize as reality are the illusions that they project, because you don't know any better, because this is what you've been conditioned from day one. Your belief system is like a robot plugged into your head, telling your mind what to do, what's allowable, what's permissible. Go here because we've approved of that, but don't go over there. We have disapproved. You're not allowed to go there. And there will be consequences if you don't listen. And again, the mind, being a child, it's okay, like that. So to end the video, social media, all of them, they're just databases, data collection points for these 3-letter agencies, for the KGB, for whatever China's version is of that, North Korea, they're all in on it. But I'm saying it's this portal that you're connecting with, your cell phone, tablet, laptop, whatever it is. It's just a door, because the internet doesn't exist anywhere in the world except through your phone. You can't drive to the internet. Where does the internet exist? It doesn't. The internet doesn't exist anywhere. It only exists on your phone or your tablet or your laptop or whatever you monitor. That's where it exists, right? So you're actually opening up a portal to something that you're not in control of. You're not the one putting in that information that everybody is dialing into and connecting with, and then they're feeding off of it. That's why the news calls it the feed. It's all cleverly done. This is why it's very important for you to be very, how do I put it? You have to become highly selective, and you can't be indiscriminate with these things. You have to really dissect them and analyze them before you consciously choose to put your energies towards these things, because what happens is they're attuned to such a frequency that the moment you connect with it, it's going to force you to become just like it, which is low vibrational. That's the nature of these things. So when these kids start listening to this stuff on TikTok, wherever they're getting it from, that's all been specifically contrived, pre-orchestrated chaos, well in advance. It's going to be packaged to seem as if it is the truth, meaning they'll think that this is factual evidence. How can it not be? I've already checked it. Fact checkers, Snopes, it's all in the same click, by the way. So that's what will give them the confirmation that what they're connected to is valid. I don't have to listen to anybody else because this is the truth, not knowing that it isn't. It is not. Because the youngest minds are the most susceptible, the most vulnerable. They're the most pliable minds in the sense that it's like a flaccid lump of clay. It can be molded to assume any form that the artist wishes or desires it to be, which in this instance is that system. That's why in my day we didn't have the internet, but that didn't mean that we were devoid of the social conditioning, because we had cartoons, which are some of the most violent on the earth. Look at Tom and Jerry and Bugs Bunny. I mean, it's mind-boggling how a parent could sit a child in front of that. In my day, we had just televisions, with knobs and tubes and everything, the old stuff. But still, it was the same conditioning. Cartoons came on only on Saturday at like 7 to 2. I think it was Channel 2, Channel 4 carried them. We didn't have 24-hour anything. TV went off at 1 o'clock, and that was it. I think it came back on at 7 or 8, and we didn't have the full on bombardment to the extent that this generation does, because now it's constant 24/7, 365. Whereas we didn't have these distractions, so we went outside and we made our memories with something called actual reality. Now they don't have that. Or you see these children clustering together in groups and just staring at their phones. I mean, I remember one time we did an open mic a couple of years ago, or excuse me, a feature performance where I was in a band, and we did our set. It was the older crowd, everybody was dancing, and then we all cleared out, and then the 20-somethings came in. They started playing DJ music and everything, and there must have been maybe about 300 or 400 of them in the room. Not one of them was moving. They were all just sitting like static, staring at their cell phone, and they have the girl with them, and they're all just sitting. Nobody standing. Nobody's moving. I said to my friend, Jesus, look at this. This is all brainwashing. He's like, yeah, look at it. It's crazy. Nobody's moving. Nobody's dancing. Nobody's socializing. Nobody's interacting. They were just standing, doing this, like that. I was like, and this is all done by design, of course. So you are what you eat, and you are the product, the direct result of the content that you consume online. So if you continually keep shoveling it in, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, it doesn't matter. It's all the same. These are just these are just collection points, databases for these 3-letter agencies. That's all they are. Because they get you to come to them, and then you put up your family pictures and you tell them all your private business, and it's genius. It's genius. It's absolute genius. And then the kicker is that they're feeding you content that just is messing up your head. It's destroying your perception. It's destroying your quality of life. You're being flooded with a low-dimensional unconsciousness. They can convince people that you could be a man and a woman at the same time, that if you're a man, you can give birth, and all of this stuff. And these kids, they're so messed up in their head. That's why they want to have sex change operations at the age of 7. And this system is giving them the resources to do that. And they're telling the parents, how dare you question your child? They know better. So you can clearly see that this little kid with a mind that's just incapable of perceiving this world as anything other than what it really is, only than what they're being told that it is, can actually make any kind of viable decision on their own, like a proactive autonomous decision, because they don't have the necessary accumulated experiences to do that. You have to have a lot of miles in life in order to say, you know what, that experience I've seen before, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. Ain't gonna happen again. They don't have that. That's why they always go after the youth, and they discard the elderly, because the elderly are lost cause. You can't brainwash most of them. They know, they're hip to the system. But you are the content that you consume. You just have to analyze that. If you're constantly watching all of that garbage online, that's exactly what you are. That's exactly what you are. And you're going to be a vibrational equivalent to it, project it. You're going to get experiences that deliver themselves to you, that are in vibrational alignment with whatever the dominant transmission of that energy that you're broadcasting is. So it's a reciprocity to it. You consume this content subconsciously, unconsciously you're projecting, consciously you're receiving it, and once you receive these experiences that you unconsciously projected, this fortifies your belief system, which just drives you down deeper and deeper and lower and lower and lower. It's genius. And you keep solidifying that wall around you, your belief systems, your opinions, your ideas, how you see life, how you interpret it, how you understand it, how you relate to it. Because your belief system will not allow you to align with anything that is outside of its agenda, its protocol, its prime directive. It will not. You will see something outside of you and it'll make you feel uncomfortable. It is that way by design, to keep you, or should I say, prevent you from leaving the confinement area or breaching the containment area, or to be cordoned off permanently. You're busting through that because you're like, oh, what is that? It is your curiosity that is piqued and your interest that is looking to be satiated for you to go somewhere else that exceeds the limitations of that confinement area created by the belief system, that will be the catalyst of the demise of this system. And that little something that's piquing your interest is something called the real truth. And I hope that everybody's interest is satisfied and go and look at it, because it's something unrecognizable, something alien, something unfamiliar, something strange looking, and something that will seem like it's out of this world and crazy. But ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, boys and girls, that is the real truth. And it is up to you to explore through that journey to make that discovery for yourself, what that means to you. Have a blessed day.